those of us who are going to be wearing talitot, let's open the talit.
Right.
And where's our photographer? Photographer, okay. Salem Chofshi, כל הטקס. Where did you get each of these talitot? Which was? From where? And how about yours?
That was amazing. He said some website.
Now, how about if you say the blessing after me? Okay? You ready? Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Kiddushanu B'mitzvotav V'tzivanu L'hit'atef B'tzitzit. Now read this twice and put it around your shoulders like a shawl. Very good. Okay. Very good. Okay. So. Right. Okay. So. Now, have you given out?
Well, I have it written down. They don't really know.
That's okay. We can wing it.
We're going to wing it.
That's right. So take your booklets, please. This is going to be our siddur, our prayer book, as we work through the Torah. Page 1. Who's reading?
Ryan was doing it.
Ryan, go ahead. You need a booklet. That would help.
Do you think that the words of prayer, as we said, go up to God? It is not the words themselves that are said, it is rather the burning desire of your heart that rises like smoke towards heaven. If your prayer consists only of words and letters, it does not contain your heart's desire, how could it rise up to God?
Thank you. Now, who here can tell me something about Anne Frank? Anybody? What do you know about Anne Frank?
She lived during the Holocaust and was hidden by her family.
Yes. And what happened to her?
She got caught.
She was caught and put to death. Fortunately, we have her diary, and we're going to have a selection from that diary. Who's reading that? Okay, Benny.
It's really a wonder that I haven't dropped all my ideas because they seem so absurd and impossible to carry out. Yet I keep them because in spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good heart. I simply can't build up my hopes on a foundation consisting of confusion, misery, and death. I see the world gradually being turned into a wilderness. I hear the ever-approaching thunder which will destroy us too. I can feel the sufferings of millions, and yet, if I look up into the heavens, I think it will all come out all right, and humanity too will end up, and that peace and tranquility will return again. In the meantime, I must uphold my ideals, for perhaps the time will come when I shall be able to carry them out.
Thank you. Please join with me if you know the melody to Hinei Matov. Hinei Matov u'manayim,
שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאללה לה,
יאללה לה, יאללה לה.
הנה מה טוב,
It's the BM boys.
יאללה לה, יאללה לה, יאללה לה.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
How about the name Abraham Joshua Heschel? You already know that name? Yeah, excellent. A philosopher of the 20th century. Remember that century? Right? He was a philosopher who was born in pre-World War II Europe. He was recognized as a genius. He became a rabbi, an Orthodox rabbi, steeped in Jewish tradition. He also achieved a doctorate in Bible at a local university. He was then smuggled out of Europe by the Reform movement. Came to North America. After a brief period of time, decided his proper place was with the conservative movement in North America. He went to New York. trained generations of rabbis. I want to tell you a story about him before we read what he wrote. He said as follows. There was an ad in a local Jewish newspaper. The ad said as follows. Buy only kosher. What would come next? What word? Meat. Right? That's the thing that jumps to our mind. That's not what the ad said. It said buy only kosher lettuce. Lettuce. At the bottom of the ad was signed H.A. Heschel. One of his students saw the ad and called him up and said, Rabbi Heschel, what does this mean? Now here comes the punchline. This is what Heschel said. He said it all depends on how much they pay the pickers of the lettuce. If they're paying them at least minimum wage, it's kosher lettuce. If they're not paying them at least minimum wage, you have to pay them by law, it's not kosher. Don't buy it. Don't eat it. Isn't that a great story? Taking Jewish law, halakha, and Jewish values, and saying they really are connected. They're one and the same. Okay. So we're now going to read a selection from Heschel and...
Okay, so we're going to have Dave and Nicole do this.
Okay. As a response to
Duet.
back and forth?
Duet.
Go ahead.
Ladies first.
What is so precious about the land of Israel? What is the magnetic quality of its atmosphere?
The land is a text. Here you are illiterate unless you remember the words of Scripture. It is a land where the Bible is at home.
This tiny corner is the spot where the most sublime moments of encounter between God and our people took place, where the most precious visions were born.
We must seek to understand Israel reborn in the light of history. From the perspective of time, it is a land where not a spot is visible that is not reflecting an event, a moment. Just to be in the land is a religious experience.
It is a country where a full Jewish life can be lived in the core of tradition and conscience, where the Sabbath fills the streets, not only the homes, where the language is Hebrew.
Eretz Yisrael is a prelude and anticipation. This is part of our exaltation to witness the birth of the land of the Bible. The land that was dead for nearly 2,000 years is now a land that sings.
Lovely. Nicole, thank you. Okay, pilgrims. You just call us pilgrims? Well, yeah. I call you pilgrims because you are. What is a pilgrim? What's a pilgrim?
Someone that makes a trip back to a
For a religious reason, right? Someone who goes on a religious quest is a pilgrim. A mission. And that's what you have done. That's what the Greens and the Kavinskis have done. Coming here for Ben and Ryan's bar mitzvah in Israel. You are pilgrims. Now why is that significant? Because in classic terms, in ancient times, there were pilgrimage festivals. Jews would come from all over the world, and I mean all over, to the temple where they would sacrifice and read psalms. 3 times a year they did. And they would say the following psalm that we're going to read together
I want to
on
ask
the
you
top
something.
of page.
People who are coming from Haifa to this bar mitzvah, they are not pilgrims?
They are. They're
You're
all
also
pilgrims.
pilgrims.
They're all pilgrims. So let's have, who's going to be reading that for us?
The top of page 3?
Yes,
Stuart.
Stuart.
I rejoiced when they said to me, "We are going to the house of the Eternal." Our feet stood inside your gates, O Jerusalem. Jerusalem built up, a city knit together. To its tribes would make pilgrimage, the tribes of the Eternal, as was enjoined upon Israel, to praise the name of the Eternal. There the thrones of judgment stood, thrones of the house of David. Pray for the well-being of Jerusalem. May those who love you be at peace. May there be well-being within your ramparts, peace in your citadels. For the sake of my kin and friends, I pray for your well-being. For the sake of the house of the Eternal, our God, I seek your good.
Thank you very, very much. Now, if I ask you to explain to me the following word, Mishnah. Anybody know the word Mishnah in Hebrew? I'll give you an explanation of what it is, because we're about to read a Mishnah. If I were on a desert island someplace, and all I had was the Torah scroll, and let's say an English translation, and I'm reading in there, And I'm reading, and it says at one point, honor your father and mother. And I go, wow, I like that. I'm going to honor my mom and dad because it says to do that in the Torah. Then I start to ask myself questions. What does it mean to honor them? How do I honor them? Where do I honor them? How often? I don't know the answer. So a group of Jewish men sat down for 500 years. And they wrote a commentary, I like to call it a user's guide to the Torah. That's called the Mishnah. It collects all the rules, all the laws from different parts of the Torah and makes them organized. But guess what? That wasn't really enough. Another group of Jewish men sat down for 400 years and they wrote a commentary on the Mishnah called the Gemara. But guess what? That wasn't enough either. And you get the idea. The process continued and continues until this very day, with one primary difference. I said Jewish men for 500 years and Jewish men for 400 years. That has changed. Today it is Jewish men and Jewish women who sit and write commentary on Torah, on Mishnah, on all of our classical texts. From my perspective, that is perhaps the greatest change in the way we Jews celebrate our Jewishness that has happened in the past decade. Opening up the possibility for study for women and men equally. So, with all that in mind, we're going to read a Mishnah. It begins, these are duties. And who's reading that? All right.
These are duties whose worth cannot be measured. Honoring one's father and mother. Acts of love and kindness. Diligent pursuit of knowledge and wisdom. Hospitality to strangers. Visiting the sick. Celebrating with bride and groom. Consoling the bereaved. Praying with sincerity. And making peace where there is strife. And the study of Torah leads to them all.
Fantastic. Just say the last line again.
And the study of Torah leads to them all.
It is our firm belief, guys, that the study of this text leads to all those wonderful behaviors and character traits. Okay, one of my favorite parts of the service. I'm going to ask you now to get this finger ready. Everybody get it ready. Don't look at your neighbor. Don't look. Ready? Point to Jerusalem now.
Yay, yay. Good. You're good. You're good.
Oh, guys, it's not a good idea to follow Dad.
All right,
You
put
should
your
have been in
hands
Washington.
down. Put your hands down.
Hey, I was pretty close with Svika.
No, you were good.
Everybody went like that. No.
You're good.
It's here. It's here. Good. I like that.
That's very good, Gil.
You gotta remember that one.
That way is Egypt. That way is Jordan. That way is the Mediterranean. And those of you who went pretty much that way, got it right.
I went that way.
Okay?
Well done.
That's close. Pretty close. Maybe now, why do we need to know that? Why do we need to always know where Jerusalem is?
Are you supposed to pray towards
Yeah.
Jerusalem?
There are set times in our prayers that we stand and face Jerusalem. This is one. Please rise. The middle of page 3. יתברך אדוני אלוהינו, השבח מעשה ידיך, והמאורי אור שעשית יפעלו מעשיך. ברוך אתה. Revelation. Give that one out.
Yes, it's going to go Jess, Leah, Jack, Luke.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
That's right.
Revelation. Page 3, right?
Page 3. Deep is your love. Jess is first,
40
Leah,
minutes
Jack, and Luke.
Deep is your love for us, abiding your compassion. From of old we have put our trust in you, and you have taught us the laws of life. Be gracious now to us that we may understand and fulfill the teachings of your word.
Enlighten our eyes in your Torah, that we may cleanse your mitzvot. Unite our hearts to love and revere your name.
We trust you and rejoice in your saving power. For you are the source of our help. You have called us and drawn us near to you in faithfulness.
Who's now, Luke?
Yeah.
Joyfully lift up your voices and proclaim your unity. Oh God, in love you have called us to your service.
Fantastic.
All right.
You got all that, right?
Josh,
All that, good. That was great. Now, ladies and gentlemen, those of us who are wearing left hand, and I'd like to explain why. Okay, we gather the corners for two reasons. First of all, our Israelis know the word gematria.
Yeah.
Okay, gematria in English we call numerology. Every letter of the Hebrew alphabet has a number of value. Aleph is 1. How much is Bet?
2.
Gimel? 3. I'm going to jump now. Yud?
10.
Good.
Yeah, because you're Israelis.
Then if we add up Sadi Yud, Taf, Tzitzit, we get 600. Then if we add 8 strings and 5 knots, 600 plus 8 plus 5 is how much? 613. Now why is that number important? It's good. Yes. Excellent. 613 is the number of mitzvot in the Torah. So when we gather up our tzitziot, we're reminding ourselves of the centrality of Torah. That's one reason. Second one, in general cultural terms, fill in the following. The 4 corners of the earth. It is our prayer that the Jewish people be gathered from the 4 corners, of the earth, where? It doesn't have, Tel Aviv is good, right? Beersheba is just fine, Arad, you choose it. It's a prayer for the ingathering of the Jewish people from wherever to Israel. Now, just in case there's somebody here who won't be making Aliyah by the end of the week, okay, just in case, I want to add to that a little prayer and a suggestion that each of our adults here remember to explain over and over again to our youngest people who are here the significance, the importance of keeping this land of Israel strong and free. I know, and so do most of you, what it was like before there was a state of Israel, and how important it is that we maintain this land sovereign, free, and strong. So with all that in mind, I'm going to ask, guys, would you lead the Shema together with me? Okay, we're going to close our eyes as we do this. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai V'ahavta et
ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך
ושיננתם
לבניך ודיברתם בם
בשבתך
בביתך ובבואתך בדרך
ובשרתך ובקומך
וקשרת מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך
וכתבתם
על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Fantastic. We kiss tzitziot and release them. And we now turn to the bottom of page 4. Ask everybody to rise. I'm going to sing the last paragraph and then the beginning of the Amidah, which is on page 5. Please, everybody face Jerusalem. Shur Yisrael, Kuma B'ezrat Yisrael, Umdei Chinumecha, Yehuda B'Yisrael, V'oleinu Adonai tzvot shemo Kadosh Yisrael Baruch Adonai Ka'al Yisrael. Page 5. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu Eloheinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov El HaGadol HaGibor V'Norah Elyon Gomel Chazonim Tovim Mekonei Hakol Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Goel Bnei Bneihem Le'ad Shmo B'Yahava Ve'Chozer Moshiach Magen Baruch Adonai Magen Abraham Ata Gibor Yohem Adonai Mechayim V'Tim וחיים מתים רחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים מתיר אסולים, ומקיים אותו. מחיי המתים. I'm going to ask everybody to stay standing for another half a minute. Friends to be able to celebrate here. The plan has come together, and I thank you. Just take half a minute. Please all be seated. We turn
You won't
now
stop
to
there.
Page 7. Oh, fill our minds. Bob and Sandy, it is. Sandy says, what, me?
7. But Jess is also.
Unifies all creation.
Remind us of the best that is in us.
Choose our way.
Feeling anguish of the afflicted of stand in awe of the mystery of being.
Praise
Your most precious gift,
O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim His message to all the peoples of earth. Bless our country, that it may always be a stronghold of peace, and its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within its borders, health and happiness within its homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship among the inhabitants of all lands, and may the love of your name dwell every home and every heart. Praise you, O God, the source of peace.
Please join with me, the bottom of the page.
Shalom Biloma, Uyase Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'inu Ilu Amen. Uyase Shalom Biloma, Uyase Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'inu Amen. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael.
Way up high.
Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael.
Amen. Please turn to page 8 as we get ready for the centerpiece service. The guys are going to come up for Aliyah. Page 8. And we read all together assembled. Assembled at a mountain out
Take from afresh, found your Torah, and your truth, and embrace the destiny that has shaped the world.
help us still
Shape the world according to your will. Help us
ויהי בנס אהרון ויאמר משה קומה אדוני ויפוצו אויביך וינוסו משנאיך מפניך כי מציון תצא תורה כי מציון תצא תורה ודבר אדוני מירושלים ברוך שנתן תורה תורה ברוך שנתן תורה תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו. Now just a moment, I'm going to ask one of you to walk around with the Torah so that everybody can come over and kiss it. Then when you put the Torah away, the other one will walk. So who wants to lead off? You got me.
Luke once, but he's stuck. Luke once.
Luke wants to do it. Come on over here. Just walk around.
Only in Israel. Only in Israel.
Kadosh, ki kadosh, Adonai Eloheinu. Before we get seated, I'd like to have the two sets of parents come up here. Okay, two of you with your son, and
where is Nicole? Freezing.
Because what I'd like to do is a chain of tradition. I'm going to ask each of you take hold. Hold on. And in the same way that you were given the Torah, for you to pass it along to your son. Take it on your right side. And I have a serious question for you. In the same way that your parents provided so that you would feel a part of the tradition and become bar mitzvah, you take upon yourself, that God willing, when you have children, and you will do the same thing for them? That's the right answer. Good for you.
Somebody get that on film.
Guys, same thing. Hold it, both of you together. In the same way that your parents provided you with a tradition, a framework, and saw to it that you would have a Jewish tradition, and you now pass along to your son the full sense of what it means to be a Jewish adult. You take upon yourself that when the time is right, and you have your own children, that you will continue the tradition and see to it that they too are bar and bat mitzvah? Yes. Mazal tov to you. Good. Everybody please be seated.